Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my second Halloween pregame review. And, well, in case my trench coat isn't indication enough, I'm reviewing the Constantine movie that came out way back in 2005 that starred Keanu Reeves. Now, this movie always has a soft spot for me because, first of all, it's Keanu Reeves. I've liked most of his movies, mostly the John Wick films. Um, I tried to watch The Matrix. It was okay. I ended up falling asleep through most of it, but I'm gonna chalk that up to, at the time, it was late at night. So I'll have to go back and watch them sometime. But the other movie of his that I really saw was Constantine, right? And even though at the time I didn't see the full thing, it was still my first exposure to the character. So this has always had a hot spot for me, especially because, it's kind of like almost the marriage of both of my favorite genres of movies, superhero and horror. And make no mistake, Constantine is a horror film. That's happens to be set in, the DC comics. Because, even Constantine's, original appearances, with the Swamp Thing, had its roots in horror. Same thing with Doctor Strange, which is kind of why Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness kind of leaned into the horror. But getting into the movie itself, the plot is kind of interesting, where Constantine is just battling demons that are trying to break through from hell into Earth, and eventually he uncovers this plot that is a little bit convoluted about how these demons have to gain control of the Spear of Destiny that pierced the side of Christ, which will somehow give birth to the son of the devil, who in the movie is named Mammon. And from there, it's almost like an Indiana Jones adventure, where Constantine and Rachel Weisz's character, who is a psychic, they're just hopping around town, trying to figure out what's going on, what the demons' plans are. It's a little bit convoluted for my taste for a superhero film. But as a horror film, it's great. The visuals of the demons are stunning. The every sequence that takes place in hell just looks amazing. How it looks basically a mirror version of our world, just with fire and brimstone. Even when the devil, who is played by Peter Stormare, shows up, he actually looks terrifying, but he also hams it up to have a little bit of comedy in there, where he just loves where the actor was just completely hamming it up and chewing up the scenery in his small cameo at the very end of the film. This movie was great. Keanu Reeves, I think, plays Constantine pretty damn good, or at least with what he's getting, with the work he's given, which I'll get into that later. Shia LaBeouf is okay. He plays Chaz Chandler, who, outside of the Constantine TV show, I haven't really seen him much, so I don't know if he's a one-for-one comparison to the comics. Again, I'll get into that later. Rachel Weisz's character, I'm not sure if she even appears in the comics, but the other biblical figures, such as Lucifer and Gabriel, who is played by Tilda Swinton, they're pretty cool. I don't know, this movie did a great job at basically blending the action with horror, in my opinion. Even some of the minor characters, Father Hennessy, the Bee-Man, Papa Midnight, uh, all no, all those characters are memorable in their own ways. Even the secondary antagonist, Balthazar. But even though I mostly just remember him for like the grotesque imagery that kind of accompanies him, where like there's a scene where he kills Father Hennessy by basically using his like alcohol addiction against him to make it seem like he's out of alcohol. So he goes to a liquor store to try and like uh, fill himself up, and he ends up like literally drowning himself in liquor. Or later on, when he kills John's other friend, B-Man, by literally filling up his body with flies. Like, again, like I said, this movie did a great job at blending like the horror scenes with the actual like action and superhero bits, especially when they get into like the supernatural weaponry that John Constantine uses. Like he uses like this he uses this golden shotgun that is shaped like a cross, like these vials of holy water, where if he throws it on a demon, they their face starts to melt, and they take on a demonic appearance. And also, if Constantine is in hell, like he just smashes the holy water against his chest, and he wakes up back in the realm of the living. Um, and attached to that holy shotgun is like this dragon's breath that he can use as a flamethrower, which is also cool. But yeah, like I was saying, like the characters are memorable. The music is pretty damn good. The like I've said before, the visuals are stunning. The horror is great. I think this is one of the perfect examples of an action horror film. Um, there's really not too much that I can really think of that I didn't really like about this film. There is one really big thing. It's kind of the elephant in the room for this one, and it's the fact that this movie is almost nothing like Constantine from the comics. And like, first of all, going off of his appearance, like Constantine just wears like a regular black suit and black hair, right? Well, the trench coat that I'm wearing is what Constantine actually wears in the comics, over like a loose suit shirt and like a loose red tie, and his hair is blonde. Why they went with this visual change, I don't know. And then they took the setting to some of the locations to Los Angeles, which that's, I mean that's kind of passable, because I mean, like the Venom movie took a lot of the locations from New York and set them in San Francisco, so that one's kind of understandable. Like I said, I don't know if Chaz Chandler's character is a one-for-one depiction in the comics, but I do know that that the depiction of him in the TV show does not line up with the version from the movie. The devil, Lucifer, the depiction of him in this movie is nothing like the DC Comics version in the comic books. But then again, the DC Comics version of Lucifer is also nothing like the TV show of Lucifer, so that one also kind of gets a pass. But then there's the fact that that John Constantine's origin story was also changed in this film, where in the comics, originally when John Constantine was like a novice in knowing magic, he tried to exorcise a demon from a little girl named Astra by summoning a larger demon known as Nergal, and it worked, but Nergal also killed the girl and took her soul to hell. And thankfully the CW TV shows, they actually brought this back, because that doesn't happen in the Constantine movie. Instead, what happens is that Constantine, apparently ever since a young age, was able to see demons and angels for what they truly were, and he couldn't take it anymore, so he committed suicide. And according to the movie, he spent like 2 seconds in hell, but it felt like an eternity to him. So he got brought back to life, and now he does exorcisms, even though he's still damned to go to hell. Like it feels like the only things that they really kept part of Constantine's character is the fact that he does exorcisms, and like he dabbles in dark magic, and that he's a chain smoker. Because this movie was heavily loosely based on, I believe, the comic arc Dangerous Habits, where where John's actually dying of lung cancer. But in the comics, he made a deal with 3 different demons for his soul, and because the demons didn't want to start a war in hell just for John Constantine's soul, they agreed to instead cure him of his cancer. And, well, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but they do keep that part in, sort of, where the devil cures Lucifer of his cancer, and even as a bit of a joke, like, he flips off the devil on his way to heaven, which is what causes the devil to reach into his body and cure him of his cancer. But I don't know, I just feel like, and as much as I like this movie, I feel like they took way too many creative liberties with this one, to the point where John Constantine is almost unrecognizable in this outing. But maybe that's just me. Oh, and then the other minor complaint that I have about this film is that they have too much of a fixation on water being the conduit to go to hell, which, first of all, I don't think that makes any sense at all, since hell is literally fire and brimstone in the movie itself, so I don't understand how water transports you there. And also, if they go to hell twice, right? John goes to hell, and then Rachel Weisz goes to hell. And unless I was missing anything, they didn't do any like specific ritual or anything to get to hell. They just stayed in the water. So then that makes me wonder, like, well, then how come people aren't going to hell all the time in that movie? Because I'm pretty sure someone's got to take a shower, someone's got to take a bath. You drink water daily. So I don't know. Maybe I was missing something from this film. Oh, and the character of Papa Midnight, he was in the comics. I'm not sure how accurate he was portrayed in the movie. But I do know that, like, again, in the CW TV show, he and John Constantine are actually enemies. So, again, I don't know if the movie depiction was accurate or not. But I'll have to pick up some Constantine comics to read every now and then. But despite everything that I said, it's still a very good movie. It's just not an accurate superhero film, if that makes sense. But it's still a good movie, a good horror film, and a good action film at that. So definitely give it a shot, especially since I've been hearing rumors that there's going to be a sequel. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they will make it comic accurate this time. So, I don't know. Bottom line is, it's a great movie, and that's it for this review. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the official start of the Halloween marathon. Good night, everyone.